to Knit One, Heart 2.
Episode 155.
I'm Sheila, also known as Sheila D37.
And I'm Wendy, also known as Penny Winnie. And if this is your first time watching, thanks for joining us. And if you're a return viewer, welcome back. So, do we have any shout-outs?
Yes, we do. We want to say thank you to Annabelle for your generous donation
Thank
to
you,
our
Annabelle.
account.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
That is very helpful.
I'm dealing with a cold, so I apologize in advance. I have some hot tea with lemon. No, hot tea with honey. That's what I have.
Okay.
I'm supposed to help you with being cold.
I don't know what I thought you said something else.
Hot tea with honey.
Hot tea with honey. It's actually hot toddy.
Mm.
Sheila's morning drunk.
No.
She's not. I'm just joking.
Sure.
In case
spread more rumors around. You and your rumors.
I know. What's wrong with me? Really? What's wrong with me? All right. So you go first.
But do we have anything else to talk about?
Just that we have our knit-alongs going. We have the monthly stash busting knit-along like we always do, which you need to knit from something 6 months or older. And we're also doing the Annika cowl and chevron chapeau designs by Suzanne Morrison Gavro. That knit-along is going for the month of April, and you can use her code, Everything is Awesome, one word, to get 25% off
each of the
for the month of April. So go for it. Excuse me. All right.
All right. Well,
It's
I should have just waited. So I cast on something new. If anyone saw on Instagram, I posted it. I am knitting, or I started to knit the Trillian by Martina Ben.
Yep.
And it's a real simple pattern. This is the backside. I apologize. This is knitting from ancient stash. This is, how long have we known each other? This is our third year here, so 5 years?
Since 2007 at least.
So this is probably 2007 yarn. It's that old.
So like almost 14 years. No, 7 years old. 14 years old.
So it's probably 5 to 6. This is one of the first things that I was starting to do when I started getting to stash. So this is Cherry Tree Hill Sock It To Me Select Sock. I don't know what it's called, but it was inexpensive. It's the Silver Streak colorway, which is black and white, and according to my son, blue.
Well, there's a blue-gray.
It wasn't the best lighting when he looked at it, but I'm like, you and Wendy have the same color sense. And I'm doing it.
That's my boy.
The pattern is a pay-for pattern. I don't remember how much.
I don't know. It's like $6 or something.
And it calls for size 2.5 needles, 21 stitches to 4 centimeters. So about 5.5 stitches, or quarter stitches per inch. I'm doing it on a size 3 signatures, just because I didn't want to knit on 2.5. So
I hear you.
So this is size 3, and it's really somewhat mindless pattern. I got a tip from a Raveler that I like stitch markers so that it stays somewhat mindless. And you can't really do a stitch marker because it changes.
Right.
So she figured a way of doing a stitch marker on the reverse side, and it works. So I appreciate that because this is all garter stitch. So
looks good.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just not with it. And then I have my socks on the needle. I don't remember how much I had done last time. You
had one all the way done, and you had not reached the heel yet.
So I have done the heel.
You only had like up to here.
Yeah.
You did quite a bit.
Yeah, I did. I reached the heel, I turned it. I'm doing the fish kiss lips.
Okay.
Fish lips kiss heel. This is where I am. So I'm just this. I'll bring into work tomorrow, and I'll probably finish it this week, depending on how busy or slow we are.
I like it.
I do too.
I like it a lot.
I do too. Of course, I think the next sock I might knit on might be a cotton blend because we are coming into summer. So I have 2 cotton blend type of sock yarns that I can knit with. And so that I can wear them wearing 100% wool. I do wear them in the summertime at work because it's so cold where I am.
Yeah.
But my feet get really hot when I'm out of work. other day, I think I had some on Saturday, and I'm like, oh yeah, my feet are hot. So the cotton ones shouldn't be that bad. Cotton blend. So just those two things are on the needles for me.
Nice.
Yeah. And I have mine both in drawstring bags. I like drawstring bags.
Yeah.
Small drawstring bags so that I can put them in a larger bag.
Okay.
Well, for work.
All right. Well, that makes sense. Let me just finish this last stitch. All right.
See, I was helping you along.
You were helping me along. Yeah, I like the way that looks better, but I need it to be together. All right. So on the needles, the first thing I have on the needles is an oldie but a goodie. It's the Seashell Shawl.
Seashells by the seashell.
This is, you can't see
Sorry.
it all. So this is how I'll kind of hold it up. You can see the seashell pattern. If you remember the last time that I talked about this pattern.
Many moons ago.
I had finished the triangle part of the body and I was trying to start knitting the edging on. Here is the edging.
Watch my tea. I don't want you to get that in my tea.
It's really pretty. Very pretty edging.
I really love the shells.
I know. They're pretty, aren't they? It's a pretty
pattern.
It goes, this is the way that that's the front side of the edging. It's pretty. But let me tell you about this. For those of you who have watched since I did this last year, I had found a lot of errors in the charts for the beginning chart for this seashell triangle portion of the shawl. And then I started knitting the edging last fall. And the first time I knit it, I used a provisional cast on where it was the one recommended in the pattern, where I wrapped the yarn around 2 needles and did it that way. And the waste yarn was so loose that it made it really hard to, it had no structure, and knitting from the lace on it, I couldn't, it was like all messed up and I couldn't see what was wrong. And I could tell after I knit one repeat of the chart that it was messed up. And I thought it was because of the way that I cast on. So I put it away in the naughty closet, and then now I'm trying to get some of my whips done. So this time, instead of doing that provisional cast on, I did a chain crochet cast on where I crochet a chain and then I pick up stitches in the little bumps on the back. And as you can see, that's much more stable. So it's easier when you hold it out to see what the lace is doing. And the first time I knit the chart in full, none of the yarn overs matched up, and it was all in garter. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. So that's when I noticed the first problem with the chart. Most lace charts are designed to show, if you look at the whole chart, all of the stitches are right side stitches. And when you knit a wrong side row, if it has stitches, you're supposed to reverse them. So if it shows like purl 2 together on the front, then it's knit 2 together on the back. You're supposed to reverse it. And that's why you'll see on lace charts, they'll show you right side instructions and wrong side instructions for those lace items that you knit that have a wrong side where you're going to work stitches like that. A lot of the time you just have a purl rest row and there's no need to even put it on the chart. They just tell you all the wrong side rows are purl.
Right.
Well, this has no rest rows. This lace edging has no rest rows. They're all stitches worked on it. So I realized that the chart was written as you knit it. So when I reversed the stitches on the wrong side row, I was doing the wrong stitches.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, okay. So I went back, ripped it all the way out, started over again, and knit a whole chart this time, just knitting the symbols as they were on the chart, not reversing them. And that's when I noticed that none of the yarn overs were matching up, and I couldn't see any kind of a discernible pattern. And my biggest problem is that in this little area here, I was always 1 stitch short. And I always had to make a stitch. And I'm like, how am I doing this wrong? I did it like 2 or 3 times because I thought it was me. And then I sat down and I started counting. And I realized that there was a stitch missing in that part of the repeat, which was I should have had 4 stitches there. And the way that the instructions were written, as I was consistently getting 3. So I was like, all right. So I fixed that. And then as I was
doing... Did you pay for this pattern?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. This has only ever been knit, I think, by one other person. Huh. And then I found out that, see these like triangles of dots that are right here? Those were not lining up the right way. And that's when I realized that the numbers on the other side of this lace were just messed up. So that's day one. On day two, I ripped it all out and I got out my chart software and I put it in the way that it was charted, and then I knit through with sample yarn, one row at a time, to figure out
where
what it was wrong.
Fixed.
And it took me like several hours to get the chart to line up the right way and to get the numbers right. And then I did, just to make sure, I went ahead and knit one whole repeat on scrap yarn to make sure that it was working. So basically 2 days to figure out how to get this to be the right way. And now it looks like it's supposed to. It looks like it does in the picture of the pattern. Yeah. See how it's got like these little round shell-like things inside? It's a really pretty edging. If everything lines up.
Yeah, that's a shame then.
It was, and I just have to put it this way. I felt like I ended up doing a free tech edit on it.
I was just going to say that.
And for that reason, I'm not going to put all of the changes on my Ravelry. I'm not going to. I just feel like if you're going to buy this pattern, make sure that they've done a update, because as it is now, it has a lot of errors in it.
Have you thought about emailing the?
I will. Okay. I will email them and tell them that they have errors in their charts and they need to go over it. But I just, I don't even feel like, I don't even feel like doing that, because then I would tell them what the errors are.
But if you say, listen, on the edging chart, you're missing some stitches. You don't have to tell them where. You don't have to tell them why. They just need to check their stuff.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate. And I will say this. I posted on Instagram when I was going through this for 2 days. And people were like, I can't believe you're sticking to it. And the only reason I did is because this is very expensive, 100% silk lace yarn that I got from Blue Moon Fiber Arts. Oh. And I had already knit the entire shawl except for the edging.
Right.
And I kind of had to go forward, and if I hadn't been able to figure this out, I was just going to put another edging on it.
Right.
So it's disappointing. The mistakes that were in this part, if you're an experienced lace knitter, it was pretty easy to pick them up. But because I'm dealing with two pretty complicated motifs, this shell motif and then this edging, this scalloped edging, this was hard to figure out. It took a lot of work to figure that out. So, but it's coming along great. This is one whole side of the edging done. I'm short on the numbers of stitches, so I'm just going to have to fudge.
Oh, okay.
I counted all the stitches, so I don't know if some dropped off or if that number is wrong too.
Well, but that makes sense. If the edging was wrong, then it would make sense that...
Well, no, the number of rows in the edging are still, because I'm knitting it on sideways, the number of edging rows on the edge are fine. So I either dropped some stitches at the beginning, which totally could happen because I ripped this puppy out 6 or 7 times, or the numbers are off on attaching the edging too. Who knows? I don't even know anymore. But it's going to be gorgeous when it's done. I think I'm going to wear this to the wedding that I'm going to.
Oh, good.
So, yeah. And this Blue Moon Fiber Arts has held up like a champ, considering the amount of times that I have ripped this edging out. You cannot tell. I ripped this section out like 1,000,000 times, and you cannot... It looks perfect. It doesn't look like I did anything to it. So I can... This is silk thread too. I can highly vouch for that. So that's in here. That was very frustrating.
I bet.
The second thing I have on the needles, so I told you last week I was going to knit a shawl out of the handspun that I did called the Wood Colorway. on Masham wool from Into the World. And it was one of the club offerings, and I have 3 bumps of it. So I spun this one with all the colors together as a gradient, and you can really tell when it's balled up that it looks like a gradient. And then I spun the next one fractal, so it'll stripe in the fractal. And then the last one I did from the opposite end, so it'll just be variegated, and it will stripe, but it will be variegated. Excuse me. And my plan was to knit a big wrap with these, so you could really see the different ways that the yarn knit up. And Sheila and I looked for a long time at different patterns, and I found a shape that I kind of liked, but then when I looked at it some more, it just wasn't quite what I wanted. So I am working out a design that I like, that interests me for this. And this is a swatch that I'm knitting. Oops. And so you can really see the gradient. It's coming out really pretty. I'm knitting because I'm going to knit with the gradient first. It'll have a little row of leaves inside lace on the edge. And it will have a little bit of a sawtooth to it around each leaf. And then I'm doing eyelets next to the other edge. So, but this is not how the final thing. I'm still working out. I got this, the idea for this leaf lace from Nikki Epstein's Knitting on the Edge. But I'm changing it because I don't like the way that she has the pattern written for it. So I like it because it has a really wide lace holes around it. But I'm changing a few of the elements. I don't really like the way that her sample looks. I want to make it different. So I'm working that out right now with this. And that's been kind of fun. And I'm really excited by how that
looks good.
Yeah, that's a really pretty gradient. So those are the 2 things I have actively on the needles. And hopefully by next week I will have the lace worked out so I can start knitting the thing. But it's going to be a crescent shape, but it's not going to be really narrow at the end. I was going to do Trillian, but I just don't want a really narrow end like this. I want it to be wider. So it probably will start being this wide or perhaps wider. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. That's the fun thing about winging it. I can do whatever I want. So that's all I have actively on the needles.
Okay. Rate your date. I have one thing to rate, and it's not quite blocked. I mean, it's blocked. It's not dry. So I may be ruining it right now because I took it off the needles. Sorry. I'm just trying to finish my little motif here. Let me just tell you, I'm using the signature needles for the first time. Really great to do knit 2 togethers or anything in them.
I love signature needles, I'm not going to lie.
But they hurt if you stab yourself, which I did before I started. So, I finished the Annika cowl by Suzanne
Morrison Gabbro.
I'm not even going to bother with that anymore. I blocked it. It's still damp. So that's why I don't have it on, because it is really damp. But I tried it on before I blocked it, and it's going to be a nice double cowl.
Cool.
And this is with CJ Kopech Death to Ovarian Cancer fiber that Wendy spun for me.
It came out pretty.
Really did. It striped. It was kind of nice. The thing that I will say, though, is I blocked my stuff on a towel on the floor. It left dye marks on my towel.
That is not my fault.
I didn't say it was.
Just pointing it out.
But this is my cowl.
Wait.
I just knit until I felt what I was done.
Yeah.
Like I needed to cast off. It came out good.
I like it. I think it came out pretty.
I have like a walnut size amount of yarn left. So.
That was a good use of the scrap yarn, and I like the way that the chevron makes the stripes in that stand out. It really...
this is a mindless pattern. It is so simple. I did, again, use stitch markers so that it could be a mindless pattern.
Right.
But it was something, once you did the first few rounds, it was easily memorizable.
Cool.
And let me hold it up like this so you can see the striping.
Yeah, I really like the way that came out. So that was good with handspun.
It was. Little thick and thin.
Well, I told you I had trouble spinning that yarn.
But it worked out well. Size 8
Don't
needles.
look a gift horse in the
I
house.
know. I won't. Size 8 needles worked out really well. I would definitely do this again with scrap yarn. This was a nice, easy pattern. I do like the larger number for the worsted weight yarn.
Yeah.
Because I think that... But I also like how it's thin, like narrow.
Yeah. So
that when you double it up, it's not going to choke you.
Yeah, it won't be too tall. So that's good.
That's all I got for Rate My Dates.
So I have a date to rate. I'm like, I don't have a date to rate. Yes, I do. I'm wearing it. The sweater from hell is finished. There are just so many things about this sweater that are a problem. So, first of all, I can't even tell if you can, I'm doing it the wrong way. You can see this, is this the side? I can't do it. There we go. So you can see, here are the raglans on both sides. And yet, this side, I have to go this way, is like a giant square blanket. And this side is not. And I think it's because of the way the lace biased. It came off on this side with less of a slant than it did when you increased on this side. Can you see how much different?
Mm.
And it's, the lace was biasing. It was moving itself over. And I'm wondering now if when you do it on the increases on the front of the lace pattern, if you can control that biasing better by just not starting the increases the way that you do. And that probably explains it. The good news is I can wrap the square part. It goes around your neck like this with buttons. I don't have buttons on it yet. And then this goes up here and connects to the back. And it's hard to do. It's all caught. There you go. And then you wear it like a cowl.
Oh, right.
It's hard to see how it's going to look because I don't actually have the buttons on yet. I did buy buttons this morning, but I haven't put them on yet. So I've worn it a couple of times with it wrapped around me, and it makes a nice little sweater. Mm-hmm. It's lightweight. I thought it was going to be much heavier. It grew a lot, like it's giant. And then you can also wear it buttoned together in the front, so it just holds the sweater down.
But it looks weird that way because it didn't...
Well, it is what it is.
No, I know.
So, yeah. I don't really care. Like I said, I'm just glad that it's done. But it's really warm. Like, you can also just drape one side over. Mm-hmm. And, but yeah, I would say that I did something wrong to the pattern. But my numbers, my stitch counts, when I put the sleeves in, and when I did the raglans and bound off of the neck were exactly what they were supposed to be in the pattern. So the only thing I can imagine is that it's just the way that this lace biased less on one side than on the other. Because I did the same amount of increases. I mean, I came out with the same number on either side.
Yeah.
It's weird. As soon as I blocked it out, I was like, what's going on here? And if you look on the pattern pages, you can see that some people have a more square side and a more pointed side on theirs.
So it's not just yours.
So it's not just mine. So it is what it is. A fitting end for this sweater.
True.
I'm going to have to say, I do not recommend this pattern. It was not a good date.
It was not a good date.
It was not a good date. It was a date that I will never go on again.
Date from hell.
I didn't enjoy the date, and I'm not enjoying the aftermath of the date at all. I mean, I like this. I will wear it. It's a nice, loose, drapey. I could, fold it like this if I wanted to. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice, house coaty thing, but it is not what I hoped it would be. After all that trouble, I'm like, meh. So, yeah, I'm going to have to give it a thumbs down.
That's too bad.
But I've been wearing it all the time. It's really comfortable.
It looks it.
And I like that it's got this open work in it so that it's not too warm. So, and if you get really cold, yeah, you can wrap it around you like a blanket. My mom's laughing. You can also put the square front on the top. That looks good too. Maybe even better than the other front. You can button either way. So I'll wear it again next week with the buttons on so that you can actually see how it looks. I can't really, it's hard to show what it looks like buttoned if it's not buttoned. It'll hang a little bit better when it's buttoned than with me holding it like this. So maybe it will miraculously look really good when it's buttoned.
Maybe.
So that's all I have to rate.
All right, future dates. I had a hard time trying to figure out what to cast on next.
I can't imagine that.
I wanted to cast on everything and then nothing. I wanted something somewhat simple and mindless because that's where my mind is right now.
Yeah.
So I think the next one I'm going to cast on, I want to say it's called tubulatory. I could be wrong on how it's pronounced.
I have never heard of this.
It's been on Instagram
Spell
a little
it.
bit. Hold on.
I'm going to need a judge's ruling on this.
But you take a bunch of mini skeins, I guess you could say, and it's knit.
You have mini skeins, right?
Yes. Yeah, I have a couple of different sets of mini skeins.
So you can totally use
But I guess you use like about 113 grams, or no, 113 yards, roughly.
How much are in those skeins? You've got to have that much.
My wool mice might have that much.
But weren't you in the mini skein, sock skein club with us?
No, I only bought it for a few things, and those are only 43 yards.
Yeah, but for 113 yards, grams, how many grams are they?
I don't know, where is this?
See, I think she made this.
No, I did not make it up. It's by, I want to say it's by Martina Bem.
Well, why don't you search for it?
I'm going to. Start with that. So it's similar in the sense that you knit.
Oh, I see. That's weird. It was like a giant tie.
So would you call it tubularity?
Tubularity.
Tubularity by Martina Bem, and this is what it looks like. You just have different colors. You can use scraps too.
It looks like a giant necktie.
Well, you put buttons on it, and she actually has a video on how to wear it.
You can wear it several different ways.
You can wear it several different ways. It's really pretty.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So I think that's what I'm going to do next, because add colors. Or I could do, I have a pink and gray striped sock yarn. I could just do that too.
Yeah, that'd be pretty too.
So we'll see, but I think that's what I might cast on next.
I'm just going to keep working on my projects. I have a lot of whips that need to be... My new future plan is to have one old whip that I need to finish up and one other project that I'm working on, and cannot go beyond 2 projects until I get some of my whips done. That's my plan.
Yeah, I like the whole 2 projects for me. One for work, which will probably always be
I need
socks.
one mindless one and one that takes more of my attention, yeah.
Yeah, this takes a little bit. The Trillian takes a little bit of my attention.
It won't after a little while.
I know, but it's still something you gotta kind of pay attention to. Where socks, where I just knit in the round, take none of my attention.
That's true.
Although, I don't know if you saw these socks hanging about.
Oh, the ones that Knittables did? By Sort of a Knitter?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love those
I think
socks.
those might be the next.
What's the name of the pattern? It almost makes me want to knit a pair of socks because they came out awesome.
I think that might be my next sock yarn. Sock. Tell you in a minute. They are Mystic Spiral Socks by Josh Ricks, R-Y-K-S.
Yes,
Ricks.
Also known as Sort of a Knitter.
It's published in Geometrix. He does a lot of geometric.
Yeah.
There's a shawl out there that I like too.
He reminds me of Stephen West with less crazy.
A lot less crazy.
Stephen West light.
So these are the socks.
His aesthetic is Stephen West, not so crazy.
I think I might do those. It looks like they're done with short rows, which is fine. I have
That's
no
an
problem.
interesting. I like it. Makes it look like you have sandals on, kind of.
Yeah. There's no. Oh, that's not what I wanted. There's not too many. He just published it.
Yeah, I know. Show the one that
Diane Knittables did a rainbow. The name of the
yarn is
I like the name of the yarn. It's called
colorway.
White Birch Fiber, and the colorway. Oh, she doesn't put it here. What's the colorway called? Something about
Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Oh, what? I thought she'd have it here, but she doesn't.
The colorway is like something about. I'm gonna just look it up. The colorway is called "Nothing Says Screw You Like a Rainbow."
I love that. It is awesome.
That is an awesome, and I love how it looks like a rainbow with a cloudy sky. Are they not so gorgeous? You need to get this yarn.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy you this yarn for yourself. My mom's here. So yeah.
So the sock is definitely meant for like self-striping or something. It's there's some pretty. I mean, there's 14
projects, and they all came out really gorgeous.
Really did. They came out really nice. He has one that's gradient that's still kind of nice.
It's pretty.
Although
you can't really see.
No, because it's just focusing.
Well, maybe they aren't yet to the point where
they may not be. No.
Okay.
But I think that would be my next sock because that would be somewhat mindless.
Can you make them for me too? Because I like the way they look, but I know I'm not.
I was thinking about it the other day. I've made you knit items, usually toys or whatever. I'm yet to make you socks. I don't need to. You have your mom.
I know. So that's it for future dates. I didn't do a whirlwind romance. I did not spin this week.
No?
Nope, not this week. I had taxes.
And you were focusing on your design.
Well, and I took almost 3 days to figure out that problem with that other pattern, which is that's why I didn't get that was most of my week. My spare time was spent on that. So, no whirlwind romance for me. So,
okay. Well, I never have whirlwind
Crushes
romance.
and heartbreak.
Crushes and heartbreaks. My kids had a sleepover on Saturday. That was kind of nice. It was a nice, pleasant surprise. We didn't do anything. Which was good. We didn't go out anywhere. We didn't have like a date night because we'd already eaten dinner, and it was good because our neighbor texted us saying, "Just so you know, Zachary may not be spending the night." He was upset. I guess he thought it was going to be all boys, but the neighbor sister was there. He was a little upset, but he settled down. And then we had a birthday. I get a call Saturday night from my sister-in-law, and I'm like, "Is everything okay?" My brother apparently was sick.
Aww.
And we were going to go to their house after a birthday party. So she's like, "We're not going to have to do that. Can't do that."
Yeah.
But we ended up spending time with them on Sunday, so it was still nice. I felt bad because this is at a stage, this is where family becomes awkward.
Yeah.
Because it's the girls, their twin girls' birthday party, and it was at an arcade. And with all their friends. So my boys kind of felt left out because they didn't know any of these people. But as soon as it was just the four of them,
they had a good time.
Oh, yeah, they had a blast. So it was just, it was an awkward situation, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can play around in a yard. It was an indoor.
Right.
They did laser tag. So
that's fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm trying to think of any other crushes and heartbreaks. No, that's about it. Good weather's here, somewhat.
Well, it's warmer.
Not today, but...
It's warmer. I will say that. Jim told me, my husband told me yesterday, it's going to snow again this week.
Yeah, it's snow tomorrow morning.
Not on my phone. Okay, I need a judge's ruling on this. I looked it up on my phone right when he said it. I was like, there is nothing here about any kind of a situation like that. Apparently, I don't have weather on my iPad. Oh, here I do.
And yeah. Rain, snow, and wind.
How did that come? I checked it yesterday. I told someone. Who was
It's
I
actually
saying?
gonna be.
I told Sarah's husband Mike, when my mother comes into town, she brings a bed.
But it's only going to be for like 3 hours, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and 6 a.m., according to the Weather Channel. Yeah, we have the same app.
It's not snowing at mine.
Yeah, it is. You just didn't open it up. And then you go here. And see?
Oh, I see. It's April 15th.
Oh, come on. We've had snow on Mother's Day.
I know. But still. I like winter.
It's New England.
Don't get me wrong. I like winter, but this has just gone on long enough.
It's New England.
I know, but I'm just saying. I need for it to pick a season. I don't care which season it picks. Just pick one.
But it never does. That's the whole thing.
But we haven't had this kind of a off and on for a long time. No. Like, I think
we've
maybe
gotten spoiled.
10 or 15 years. It's been a long time since we had this. I mean, I'm not forgetting the April Fool's Day blizzard.
I didn't realize how long ago that was. That was a long
before
time
I
ago.
had kids.
I didn't realize that.
I know.
It just seems like I've always had kids.
I know. Seems like
you've pain in my sides. So that's all I've got for whatever it was we were doing.
Crushes and heartbreaks. My crush this week, I don't really have one.
You got your taxes
My
done?
mom's here.
My
mom.
You got your taxes done.
Is that a heartbreak or a crush?
Could go
my
either
mom
way.
is here, and my mom is going to be here for the whole week of April vacation, which is next week.
And
that is a crush for me because that is going to come in very handy, especially when I leave to go to
Maryland Sheep
Bowl.
When is that? Is that next week?
No, it's the weekend after. It's the 3rd and 4th. That's not next week?
No.
It's the weekend after.
So she's here for longer than...
She's here for a really long time.
All right, I'm going to throw it in here. Be grateful.
I am grateful, trust me. Nobody could be more grateful than me.
Because I don't know what I would give to be able to see my mother again.
I said to Jim, my mom's coming. He's like, how long can she stay? We like it when she comes. It makes our lives so much easier.
Well, yeah, you get date night without paying for babysitters.
We have backup so that when he drives me to the airport for Maryland Sheep there will be somebody to be at home and make sure the kids leave and go to school on time. Yeah, it's a huge amount of help. And my mom is going to help me clean and declutter.
Does she know this?
She suggested it.
Oh, yeah.
She suggested it.
I suggested it.
She knows. I don't really want to do it, but it's going to be good motivation for me. And she's going to walk with me every day, so that's going to be good motivation too.
Good.
So that is my crush. My heartbreak is...
At some point she leaves.
I know. If only we could just buy a new house where she could live with us all the time in her own little apartment. That would be the best.
Who'd kill who?
It's better.
I think your mother would kill you.
In her own little apartment.
Doesn't make a difference.
It's either that or Oosterman's. I'm just saying.
What's Oosterman's?
It's the old people's home in my town. Every time my mom and dad bug me, I'm like, I'm sending you to Oosterman's as soon as I can. Oosterman's is very nice, don't get me wrong, but... living in my house in your own little apartment would be better than Oosterman's, I'm just saying. So anyway, I don't really have any heartbreaks.
Okay. Baubles and Blings. I got nothing. I did, however...
You ordered something.
I tripped.
Good for you.
I'm getting this yarn from Snitches, which I have a couple of skeins from them already.
Yeah.
I do like them. It's called Seriously. And what grabbed me was the color names in this yarn. So the color name is Seriously. Mm-hmm. And it must be something with Grey's Anatomy. I'm not sure. I don't watch the show. But it was called Scrubs Blue. It has Scrubs Blue in it, which is the light blue from Scrubs. Lab Coat White. Anatomy Red, and Meredith's Gray. So that's why I can only assume that
that's really pretty. It must be from Grey's Anatomy.
So I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, I gotta get that.
Well, I have Baubles and Bling, but some of them, these are not for me. These
Well,
might
they're
look,
for you,
this might
but
not
you're
look-
not knitting them.
This might look slightly familiar to you. This is the Patons Croy sock yarn that Sheila is knitting her socks out of that I told you I was going to buy for my mom, and I did, so that she can make me a pair of socks like Sheila's.
Fine.
Since Sheila's
Heaven
not
forbid
just...
I be unique.
Well, I figured either you will give me the socks or you will just put up with the fact that I have the same socks as you.
Choice. When have you known me to give socks away? When have you known me to give socks away?
So you're choosing to have identical socks,
yes.
is what I'm saying.
Yes.
And the second,
I'm okay with that, really.
I bought that for my mom to make me socks out of.
Come on, Mom, get on with it, will ya?
On her own time. On her own time. I'm not going to pressure her, but, you know.
You do have a couple of weeks before you leave.
And then the second thing, it's very sheepy smelling. Smell that.
I can't smell too much right now. My nose is all blocked.
Oh, it's Romney. That's why. This is the March 2014 Fiber Club from Hello Yarn, and the colorway is called Tide Line. And I have to say, I was not loving the colorway in the bag, but now that I take it out, I kind of like it. So maybe, but it's Romney. Romney's not one of my favorite bases to spin. It's got a very long staple length. Romney is pretty long. It's long.
It is long.
Yeah. And it's not really a next to your neck kind of a fiber. But this is pretty. I like the colors.
How many ounces?
4 ounces. I could probably have Diane's if I wanted to trade or something. So I could probably have 8 ounces if I wanted to. And after much deliberation and discussion, we re-upped the club for another 3 months. Yes. It's just like, I don't know. We're going to do it a few more months.
Well, if you say, if it's what you say in the sense of it's difficult to get into it.
It took Diane 3 years to get into the club. And
so how many months have you been in it?
6. And this will be 9. So we upped for 12.
So at least do
it'll
one
be
more
a year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it's worth it. I have loved everything that I've gotten. I like her color sensibility. It's very similar. She's very similar to Into the World in the sense that her colors are, I think she must like the same colors that I do and the same color combinations because a lot of her stuff really appeals to me.
Right.
Which is not always so true with other dyers that I've seen. Like, it's almost every single color combo she does. I'm like, oh, I really like that color combo. That doesn't happen for me with everybody. So, and Into the World is much the same way. Somehow we like the same colors and we like to put them together in the same way. It's weird. So I'm enjoying it.
That's good.
But I need to get to spin in some of it. I have yet to spin any of the
Hello Yarn Kit. Now what is it, once a month?
It's once a month. And Diane has only spun 1. So it's not just me. But yeah, that's my Baubles and Blings for this week.
All right. Gossip and innuendo. I got nothing.
Just that we do have our list of festivals that we're going to attend and that are upcoming around here that we're not attending, but that you might be interested in if you're local or you're going to be in the local area. Shout out to my friend Bindi J if she's watching. She might be coming up here again for her husband. Okay. So I'm gonna.
It's a Monday and Tuesday. Let me know.
She's gonna be up here for 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, really? So we'll definitely get together.
Treatment. Yeah. Well, I told her that I would take her on a road trip to Webb's.
Oh yeah. Oh, I gotta go to Webb's.
Right.
So
well, maybe you can invite your other friend and we could take like a little gang.
She works during the day, so it would have to be a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told Bindi I would take her. Once her husband is kind of feeling a little better and she can take some time away from him, that'll be her reward.
Yeah, absolutely.
But definitely we might get together before
But I mean, even
town.
for coffee or something, because I'm free Mondays and Tuesdays. Well, with you on Tuesdays.
So that's totally going to happen. Yeah, I'm kind of, I feel bad for the reason they have to be in town, but I'm kind of looking forward to it because we had a lot of fun when she visited.
Oh, good.
And I think that's it.
That's all I
It's
got.
a short show.
It is a short
Short
show.
show.
Short show.
It's because I barely knit anything last week.
No, you were focusing on other things.
Yeah, I know. I'm so glad. And I hope everybody got their taxes done if you're from the United States.
They're due today.
They're due today. And by the time you see this, they will be overdue. So hope you got them done. I used TurboTax again, and it went very well.
It did. Yeah. It is what it is. That's all I'm going to say. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Taxes are never fun. But
no, they are never fun.
once I got all the materials that I needed put together and organized, it really only took me like an hour to get the taxes done. I'm used to doing it now.
I do all of ours except for the investments, and I leave that for Cam, and then when he does the investments, I go over it again.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, next year I will have more complicated investment situation, more paperwork, and that will add some time onto it.
Mm.
But this year, I mean, the only thing that took me time is I have my design business and my tech editing business, and then our podcast that I have to put in our taxes, and I had to like break down some stuff on that. So that took me a while. I claimed everything on our taxes, just so you know. We had a loss this year, actually.
Did we?
Yes. And I only put in, I only put in my loss. I didn't even put in what would have been your loss. So.
Yeah, not much, though.
I mean, it would for both of us.
Oh, you mean times two?
Yeah, I only put it in times one, since I'm only claiming it on my taxes, and I was still a loss. So, because we pretty much broke even.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, on that note.
I know.
Thanks for watching us.
Have a great week.
If you're a new viewer, thanks again for checking us out. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back each week to the crazies.
I'm sorry.
On that note, my nose is all stuffy.
All right, we will talk to you next week.
Heart.
Have a good week. Bye.